What is up, YouTube? ZukiM1 here, and I am back with a brand new YouTube video. Today we are going to be showcasing you guys some decks that I have prepared for EX8 and BT20. So today I wanted to showcase you guys my Dino deck. So without further ado, let's go ahead and get into the deck profile. So for the eggs, this one is a little hard to, it depends on your playstyle. There are a lot of people who prefer to run the Coromons. The Coromons do offer you the ability to draw and just evolve for free when you go into the Agumon. But as you can see, my rookie lineup is very different than the traditional Dinomon deck, and I'll go into why I run the deck the way I run it and things of that nature. But I do not run the Coromon. As you can see, I run the Narrowmon. So the Narrowmon has the effect all turns while this Digimon is suspended, it gets 1000 DP. So that with combination to Dinomon's effect, while this Digimon is suspended, all Digimons are forced to attack into your Dinomon. So your Dinomon will force them to interact with this. So adding that extra DP during your opponent's turn can sometimes be a hurdle that they can't get over. And it does really help with the control aspect of the deck, and also helps you with the swinging part of the effect as well, which we'll get into in a little bit later in the video. But just know I prefer the Narrowmon because it gives you the extra 1k DP during both players' turn, not just your turn. Next, we are running 4 copies of the Agumon. Agumon has the effect on play, reveal the top 3 cards of your deck, add 1 card with Tyrannomon in name or a reptile/dinosaur trait, and 1 Ryoto Williams amongst them to your hand, and return the rest to the bottom of your deck. And then the inheritable is this Digimon gets 2k DP. So just a very good generic searcher that can potentially be a double hitter in a deck that you will be running max on the Ryotos. Ryoto is just a really good extender for the Dino package. So just having him in your deck and being able to drop him off of your Tyrannomons are really impactful in this deck. So next we are running 4 copies of the Patamon. I know you see this first, but it makes sense to go over the basic Digimon first. So Patamon has the effect, start of the main phase, one of your opponent's Digimon gains all turns. When this Digimon becomes suspended, lose 2 memory until the end of the turn. And then the inheritable is another really good effect, which is when this Digimon would digivolve, if you have a green tamer, reduce the digivolution cost by 1. So why do you run this card over just running more Agumons and things of that nature? So the reason why you run the Patamon is because the start of the main effect is super impactful, especially if you can get into your Patamon X antibody, which will force one of your opponent's Digimons to suspend. It doesn't care about the level or DP or anything else. It just suspends a Digimon on your opponent's side of the board. So when you go into the Patamon and you move it up, it gets to target one of your opponent's Digimon and it gains that effect. And then your Patamon will suspend that Digimon, gaining you 2 memory. So that's an additional 2 memory to work with. Then when you digivolve into your Tyrannomon, like it doesn't matter which Tyrannomon, it could be this one, it can be this one, or this one, right? They all cost 3. It'll get reduced by 1 because of the Patamon's effect. And then if you have the Patamon X antibody, if you, let's say for instance, you just promote the Patamon up, and then you digivolve into Patamon X, suspend something, you're at, let's say they passed you with 1, now you're at 3. You can then digivolve for 3, go into Tyrannomon, play out a tamer, and then gain back a memory if it's a green tamer, and then and then the following digivolution into your level 5 would only cost 2 because of the Patamon's effect, and then you can reduce it even further off of one of these guys' effects. So you digivolve for 1. So you started off at 1 memory, you go to 3, and then you pass your opponent with 1 while ending your board with a level 5 that probably popped a Digimon on their side of the board, or de-digivolved an opponent's Digimon, and is really big during your turn because of the off the effect of Dinomon. But this is why I prefer the Patamons inside this deck. It has a lot of versatility, and it just synergizes really well with the deck, and it helps you go into a lot of lines of play that would not have been available beforehand with what we had available to us. And now with the Patamons, you can memory manipulate and force your opponents to give up certain things because they don't want to put a body out there to trigger your Patamon, which makes it even easier to deal damage to your opponent. And believe it or not, this deck can dish out quite a bit of damage. So very, very impactful deck when you get it going. So that is all the rookies here. I think I went over pretty well in terms of why I run the rookies that I run. If you have any other questions, you can leave them in the comment section below. Next, we are going on to the champions, which are kind of the most important part of the deck, if I'm being completely honest. So the champion is Dinomon. You only run Dinomon because you only need Dinomon. And the EX8 Dinomon has the effect, if you reveal this out of security, they battle. So let's say Dinomon is bigger than the Digimon that battled it in security. They battle, and then Dinomon plays itself. But let's say if the Digimon is bigger than the Dinomon, they still battle, but Dinomon doesn't die and it still gets played. So regardless of what the outcome is of the battle, the Dinomon gets played. And then when it's played, at the start of your main, you gain 3000 DP until the end of your opponent's turn. That effect alone changes the way that Dinomon plays completely. So this 3k plus this 1k equals a grand total of 18k on a Digimon that will forever redirect all attacks into him. So essentially think of Magnamon X Antibody, the prior one before the new one that we got. That is some very, very impactful stuff that makes it extremely difficult to get over. And even if they kill your Dinomon, it has fortitude, so it can bring itself back to pop whatever is on your opponent's side of the board. So it is suspend a body and then pop something else. That is value right there, like insane amounts of value. So that's why you run this at 4, because you're kind of hoping that one of them gets flipped out of security. But if not, you know, you can still digivolve into it. If it digivolves over the Agumon, it only costs 2, but if it digivolves over the Patamon, it costs 3. But if you have a green tamer in play, it reduces the cost by 1, so only making it for a total of 2. So really, really good value there. Next, we got the BT14 Dinomon. It has the effect at the start of your main phase. For the turn, when this Digimon would digivolve into a Dinomon in name, or a dinosaur, or a cephalopod trait, reduce the digivolution cost by 1. Now, this can stack with a lot of your effects. So, as you can see, the common theme is cheating a lot of your levels out with as little amount of resources as humanly possible. So your tamers help you reduce the cost. The line help you reduce the cost. The effects help you reduce the cost. So everything in this deck is reducing the cost of the evolution. So it's really nowhere near as expensive as it actually look on paper. So prime example, let's say I go Agumon in the back because I didn't have a Patamon in my opening hand. Passed them with 1. I digivolve into Dinomon the following turn, or let's say I had enough to be able to play the Agumon in the back, then push this up. This will reduce the cost of either this guy or this guy by 1. Then you have one of these two as well. which will further reduce the cost. So you can digivolve into your level 5s for the cost of 1 most of the time. That's not including the training cards that you have and also the green scrambles that you run as well. So again, a ton of value coming out of this deck, and able to cheat lines to get you to your Dinomon as quickly as humanly possible. It's a lot of power coming out of this deck, I promise. It also has the inheritable that end of your turn, once per turn, if this Digimon has Tyrannomon in name or a dinosaur / cephalopod trait, it may attack. So what that means is let's say for instance we go Agumon, then Tyrannomon, then Master Tyrannomon, and we still maintain turn. And we just spilled over. We can attack with the inheritable, trigger the Ryodo's effect to digivolve into Dinomon. Then Dinomon will get the reduced cost by 1. This will also reduce it by 1. And then whatever else you have in your evolution trait will also reduce it by 1. So you just wanted to Dinomon for the cost of 2 to pass turn. That's I can't stress this enough. Like, you're getting so much value out of what you're doing. It almost feels unfair at times. Like, it really does feel a little unfair. I'm not gonna lie to you. But yeah, it's really good. It's really good. And then we have one of a classic. This is from BT11. We have Tyrannomon on play / when digivolving. You may play a tamer with the cost of 3 or less from your hand without paying the cost. And then it also has the inheritable to give 2k DP. This also has the inheritable to give 2k DP. I also forgot to mention, so I'm bringing it up now. So this is going to be really good at being able to cheat out a lot of your tamers, because if you haven't noticed, all of our tamers except Mimi are the cost 3. So Ryodo's 3s, Taiga 3, the other Taiga 3, right? They're all playable because he doesn't specify color on Tyrannomon. So Tyrannomon can play out any 3 that you have. You could also run Shoto Kaizumas in this deck. You don't really need to, because you have blocker naturally off of Dinomon just suspending itself. But if you needed to, you could also run the Shoto Kaizumas to help you set up blockers if you can't get to your Dinomon within time. Next, we have our 5s, which we're going to start off with Master Tyrannomon. It has the effect of Fortitude, which is basically the same as Dinomon. If this dies while having sources, it gets to play itself back and then trigger their on play effect. And both of them have the same when digivolving / on play effect. Not both of them together, but I mean, like, they both have an on play / when digivolving effect. Otherwise, the fortified would be kind of garbage, because you wouldn't be able to trigger its effect when it comes back from the trash. So it's on play / when digivolving effect is you may suspend 1 Digimon. It doesn't specify what's Digimon. So if you want to, you can suspend your Master Tyranno. Now you may be wondering, why would I do that, right? If this Digimon is suspended, you can delete one of your opponent's 8k or lower DPs on your opponent's side of the board. So this allows you to be able to interact with your opponent's aces. This allows you to be able to interact with a lot of pieces on your opponent's side of the board. And let's say, for instance, one body was dedicated to killing your Master Tyranno. You bring it back on play. You can pop. You can suspend one of their Digimons to prevent them from being able to attack the following turn, and set up for an ace play for a level 6 ace if you want to run those in here. I personally don't, but if you want to, you definitely can. There are not a lot of good green level 6 aces, but you could set up for a play like that if you want to, is what I'm basically telling you. It also has the inheritable of +1 security, so this is going to help you deal massive amounts of damage with your Dinomon, and we're going to go over that in just a bit once we get to the 6s. Next, we are running 4 copies of the Master Metal Tyrannomon. Sorry, it has the same thing where it has on play / when digivolving. So if you find a way to be able to play him out, or if you have an abundance of memory and you just need to slam a body on board, it gets the effect on play, which is really nice, because there are times where you might have to just bite the bullet and just slam certain Digimon on board. And this one is one of the ones that doesn't mind you doing that, because it will give you an on play effect, which is you may suspend one Digimon. Then if this Digimon, mind you, I said for both Master Tyranno and Metal Tyranno, they have to be suspended to get the rest of their effects. So if you just suspend your opponent's Digimon, you cannot trigger the rest of their effects. Both of these Digimon have to be suspended to trigger the rest of their effects. So for Metal Tyrannomon, if he's suspended, you can de-digivolve one of your opponent's Digimon, and then it gains the effect that it cannot be de-digivolved until the end of your opponent's turn. And it also has the inheritable, when this Digimon deletes your opponent's Digimon in battle, trash the top of their security. And if you haven't noticed, that works really well, like synergistically with Dinomon. And this also gives him protection against a lot of cards and Digimon that would want to de-digivolve your Dinomon. This protects it from that de-digivolution, which is really, really good, right? I don't have to explain why that's good. It's just really good, trust me. And then now we're on to the 6s. We only run 4 copies of Dinomon. Obviously, you can mix and match your ratios to whatever you want, whatever you feel is better for you personally to be able to effectively maximize your Dino deck. Me personally, what I found the most success with and what I've enjoyed the most playing with is just only 4 copies of Dinomon. It has the effect of Fortified, which I mentioned before. If it dies while it has sources, it could even only have 1 source. As long as it dies with something underneath it, you will trigger Fortified to play it back from your trash, and then it will get its on play effect. So now I can mention what that is, which is on play / when digivolving, you may suspend 1 Digimon. Then delete one of your opponent's suspended Digimon with the lowest DP. So if you this one breaks the rule that the 5s has set. Remember how I mentioned that these guys have to be suspended to get the rest of their effects. This Dinomon allows you to suspend a Digimon, and then you can pop an opponent's suspended Digimon. So let's say your opponent wasted an attack on killing your Dinomon and it didn't die, and then they have a Digimon that is unsuspended on their side of the board. You can suspend that Digimon, then pop the lowest DP on their side of the board, but you might want to consider suspending your Dinomon. And the reason why is because while this Digimon is suspended, all of your opponent's Digimons can only attack suspended Digimon. So hopefully you only have the Dinomon suspended on your side of the board, because he would be the only attack target that they can select to attack into. He also has just naturally +1 security. So +1 security with +1 security means it's dealing a total of 3 damage per check. That's a lot of damage. That means they literally only have 2 turns to get rid of this Dinomon, because the following turn you can go into an Omnimon to win the game, because you're swing twice and then digivolve into Omnimon, because he can digivolve over red and Dinomon is red, to deal the last point of damage to win the game. So that's why you run the 1 Omnimon in there, and this is just for those types of game situations. It's not super necessary, but if you see it, it's nice type of thing. Now we're going on to the Tamers. We run 4 Ryotos. It has the basically what they typically like to give a lot of 3s, which is start of the main. If your opponent controls a Digimon, gain 1 memory. And then it has the effect when one of your Digimons for a Tyrannomon and names attacks by suspending this Tamer, that Digimon may digivolve into a card with Tyrannomon in name or a dinosaur trait from your hand with the reduced cost of 1. So this can stack, obviously. So if you have multiple Ryotos on board, they all can stack together, helping you reduce the cost even further. Then we run 1 copy of Mimi. She's the memory fixer, and she also allows you to set up for another extra point of damage. So similar to what the Omnimon is meant for, Mimi is also going to serve that same purpose of if you control a level 5 or higher green Digimon, you can suspend this tamer and then either hatch a new egg or push a Digimon from the breeding area up into the active area, which can help you push for game in certain situations. Next, we're running 2 copies of Taiga. Taiga has the effect all of your Digimons with Tyrannomon in name gains piercing, so they just naturally has piercing now. And then when one of your Digimons will digivolve into Tyrannomon in name, you may suspend this tamer to reduce the cost by 1, but he specifically only works with Tyrannomon, so that only includes all of your 4s and Master Tyrannomon, and that and Metal Tyrannomon. So he interacts with pretty much every single body here except Dinomon, which is a little sad, but you know, it is what it is on that. Then we have the BT11 Taiga, and then all turns, all of your Digimon gain +1 plus 1,000 DP, so that even helps you get even bigger now, right? And then when you would digivolve into a level 5 or higher card by suspending this tamer, you can reduce the cost by 1. So this allows you to mitigate some of that cost on Tyrannomon, because as you know, this costs 4 to digivolve over a Dino or a Digimon with Tyranno in name. So these would cost 4 to digivolve into these guys. You can reduce it even further, make it into a 3-cost evolution or a 2-cost evolution if you got Ryoto, right? It just really just depends on what your setup is looking like and what do you currently have available to you right now. Then next we have 3 of the green scrambles. The effect is you can reduce the cost of a Digivolution by 3. And then place this in the battle area, and then at the start of your turn you can trash this, put a card to the top of your deck, and then play out a Digimon with 1000 DP or lower, so Patamon or Agumon, and then you know you can trigger their on play effects, or in Patamon's case, start of the main, target a Digimon on their side of the board, and then start building up a lot of resources that way. So again, another insanely valuable card that can be utilized. Plus the security effect is really good as well. You may play 1 green Digimon with 2000 or less DP from your trash without paying the cost, and then add this card to your hand, so that sets you up even more. Next we are running the last card in the deck is 3 copies of Agility Training. You can activate this to search the top 2 cards of your deck and grab a green card, and then on the following turn you can trash this card to reduce the Digivolution cost by 2. So this helps you reduce costs even further in a deck that is already super memory efficient and things of that nature. So as you can see, there's a lot of ways to make sure that it is not painful to climb the line in this deck. There's a lot of payout and there's a lot of value to be had with this deck, and I think it's a very solid contender. Do I think that this is the best build for Dinomon right now? No, I do think that this can be optimized even further, but currently right now this is the list that I've been using and what I found the most fun to use. If you guys have different opinions or different builds that you might want to suggest for Dinomon, leave them in the comment section below. I promise you I read every single comment, and I would love to have a conversation about Dinomon and what do you guys think can optimize this deck even further. But that is all I have for you guys for today's video. If you guys did enjoy, make sure to hit the like and subscribe button. But this has been Zukiem1, and I hope you guys have a great morning, great evening, great afternoon, and great night. But I will catch you guys in the next video. Peace.